But I do my grocery shopping there. Sometimes the vegetables is like if I buy 4 packs, it's less than 20 ringgit. And I actually cook for my whole family, so it's so
Oh.
cheap. Yeah, I cook for the four of us.
Mm.
Yeah, so it's actually very cheap if you ask me.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the episode 8 of our podcast. And before that, if you notice in terms of the title of our podcast, we actually already changed from MFD podcast to Not Only Diet Talk. All right. So this is a brand new name that we are going to carry after this. And then because all of the topic that we are planning for you will not only be diet and nutrition, but of course, we are going to bring you more and more interesting topic. Right. So before we start, still in My Fine Diet, we aim to bring sustainable healthy dietary behavior for everyone. I always get it.
Wait, you messed up, right?
Yeah, every time also I was stuck. Yeah, so today I'm with Amiru and we have a guest. She's a dietitian as well, and later we are going to introduce her in to say hi with all the audience. Right. So before that, I just want to share some of the news that I recently read on the in the newspaper, Amiru. Yeah.
Yeah.
You notice there's a like
Actually, before you go further, right, you forget one thing that we usually say in the beginning. Don't forget to like,
oh
comment,
yeah.
subscribe. That's right. Yeah.
Okay, so don't forget to like, to have a listen and comment and share this episode out so that more and more people can listen to our sharing and then hope you get something new, right?
Yep.
Yeah, just now I was about to share, yeah, some of the food poisoning news that's recently happening in Taiwan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. I've heard about that. Right. It's the Malaysian restaurant in Taiwan.
Mm,
Kolam Kopitiam or something. Yeah,
yeah.
I did not really go through deeper into what is it about, but I
Mm,
think that one, when it comes to universal or outside of Malaysia perspective, we do have that issue. But
mm,
we also have another issue that is recently happening in Malaysia as well. It's in Port Dickson, related to the toxic in the mussels, right?
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so
So
it's quite scary when it comes to the food safety itself.
exactly. Why did I actually bring the issue from Taiwan? Because actually the problematic food or the food that is that caused the problem is actually one of the Malaysian favorite cuisine. Yeah, it's
Mm,
char kway teow actually.
mm.
Yes. So there will be some of the things that we will discuss. And do you want to introduce our guest speaker today?
Yeah, definitely. And it is also still something related to, I wouldn't say it's 100% directly to what we mentioned about the food safety just now,
Mm-hmm.
but it is still something that is related to our topic today, which is making a good choice when it comes to like grocery shopping. Because someone that we invited today is a special guest. It is also our first time, sort of like having a connection with her. She's someone who's like getting more popular on the social media among the
Yeah.
dietitian connection.
Yeah.
She's been creating a very high quality content as well, like food comparison, grocery lists, like those kind of content that we really need more in this dietetic connection itself, so that people will be more aware, getting more knowledge, getting more information about it. So our guest, she's graduated from IMU, International Medical University, in 2021. She's currently mainly focusing on community and business related in her dietetic setting itself, just for the benefit of the doubt of everyone itself. Like in dietetic setting, we have many branches as well.
Yeah.
Like we have in community, food service, freelancer, clinical, yada yada yada. So that's what Cynthia is currently focusing on. And I've just mentioned her name, right? I was just about to make it as but yeah, anyway, our guest today is Xinthia Chua, one of the dietitians in Malaysia connections itself. Yep. Over to you, Cynthia, if you want to just introduce a little bit about yourself.
Hi everyone, my name is Cynthia. You've basically already introduced me, to everyone. I'm also a freelancer actually. I forgot to mention that just now. And yeah, I'm happy to be invited by you guys. Excited to share about my opinions and my thoughts about the topics that we're going to discuss later on.
Mm.
And yeah, let's talk about it.
Yep, definitely. And Shin, before we go into our topic today, which is it's about how dietitian do grocery, all right? And
Mm.
then is it like really dietitian all about healthy food only, Is it dietitian every single time they will check all the, like food labels, right? So we want to know more about it as well.
Yeah.
But before we go into that, maybe you want to bring back into that the food safety issue. Why is it so important for us to get to know about what's currently happening?
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Before I share my thoughts, right, I just want to have listen from Xinthia. And what do you think about this issue that happened recently? I think the Taiwan issue happens on in the March, and then after that, this recent issue also just happened last week. Yeah.
Okay. Um, so both cases are pretty sad because, we like people who are eating there, they usually don't have the authority to prepare those foods themselves, and it's other people are preparing food on behalf of them, and they're just eating it. And it's very difficult to, like see from the outside, from just eating, like the plate of food come to you. It's very difficult to see from the outside. Um, like, is this food gonna give me food poisoning or not? Yeah. So for me, it's really on the food preparer's role, or let's say the people of the restaurant or
Mm.
the management, to have um, stricter regulations and inspections from time to time. And I think I read somewhere that it was because they were asked to reduce the cost of something, and they had to reuse their noodles,
Mm.
something like that.
Yeah.
And we all know that bacteria spores actually are on uncooked rice and pasta. It's just that the way we store the foods properly, and how often we reheat it and recook it or bring it out again into room temperature, these are the things that would cause the toxins to accumulate, because the bacteria spores are growing, and then these toxins will accumulate. So that's just my opinion. It's like we really can't know if a certain food is toxic or not from the outside, because once they shampoo with all the things like sauce and everything, you can't really see really. And
Yeah.
all these bacteria spores, they are small, so we can't see at all. So I really think at the end of the day, it's on the management responsibility on how to manage their regulations, and check from time to time. Always have inspections, spot checks from time to time.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So when it comes to food, what Cynthia was saying was it's a very complicated process in a way. It involves a lot of process when you catch you process or prepare for the ingredients, you store, you transport it, how you keep it, how you cook it, after you cook it, how you store it. There's a lot of process involving, and some of the, if let's say the SOP or even the what we call it, the condition is not really well, sometimes because of the, sometimes also could be because of the weather changes, it might actually cause all the toxin to be appear, and we can't see and we can't tell when we first ate it. But yeah, so that is how important, and also how dangerous it can be if, let's say, when it comes to food safety, we didn't really take good care of it. But that is for the food that we put into our body. But I believe in everyday life, right, we are always going to, like, buy a lot of different food. There's not only the food that served on the plate then we eat, but that also could be the food, our breakfast, our some cereals, our some of the pre-packed food that usually available on grocery store.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's true. That's true. It could be also as simple as checking the expiry date, right? When we do like
Mm.
grocery shopping, like we can ask the audiences who's listening right now, like how often you actually really check, like the expiry date. That's like a very basic thing, right? That we need to do. Yeah, I think that's very very much relevant. So I think shall we like go into the discussion right now, Shinji,
Yeah.
so that we can divert a little bit into this grocery shopping stuff.
Mm.
So Cynthia, why do you think it's important for us? Maybe we put ourselves as a general population. Like we don't wear our hat as a dietitian, right? Why is it so important for us to know how to do a proper grocery shopping, or why is it grocery shopping is very important as a like general population?
It is important because almost, I mean, most of the time we are actually eating if you think about it. So like 3 meals a day, some people maybe having 6 meals a day if they're having 3 times snacking and 3 main meals. So learning how to grocery shop in a better manner, understanding what kinds of foods they are actually putting into uh, their mouths, and basically learning how to read the ingredient list,
Mm,
nutrition facts, all these are part of healthy eating as well.
mm,
So if you ask me, like in terms of why it's so important to learn how to grocery shop, it's because food basically is our it's basically a form of survival for
mm.
us. Like we need to eat,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and putting in the right foods, healthier foods, is basically what's gonna keep us alive longer. If that makes sense, yeah.
Mm, mm,
So
mm.
Mm.
that's probably a good reason for you to learn how to grocery shop. Yeah,
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. And you need, okay, now we put back the head of like a dietitian, right?
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so how are you that kind of dietitian or that kind of like individual who like when you do grocery shopping you really take time to really understand what you are buying? Like you make a choice, a proper choice, you do comparison, you check every food labels. Are you that kind of dietitian or like individual in general?
Yes, actually, in fact, once you do it the first time, you will just continue buying the same product again and again.
Mm,
Yeah.
So I would say invest your time to look through the aisles the first round, and then after that you will just keep buying the same thing. So
mm.
it's about um like make better choices and look through it the first time, and then the other times after that, you basically won't be using much time already.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that
if you
makes a lot.
realize, yeah.
You're right. So I think the question that we might have before you get in Shen Yi is that um, like people maybe wants to start like practice healthy lifestyle, for example, right? Maybe as simple as after they listen to this podcast, they thought of like, okay, I should be more aware about what I buy during grocery shopping. There must be something that I can learn, right? But of course, in your situation, you have knowledge, right? You have learned about it. You know how to make the choices yourself with the vast information of knowledge that we have right now in the social media. Some people say this, some people say that. Like people are very confused. Like what type of food they should buy, right? Or some people say, oh, this is healthy, this is unhealthy, this is bad, this is good,
Good.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's like very confusing if I don't have any knowledge, right? So how would you, I don't know, just your opinion about healthy food, unhealthy food, healthy food versus unhealthy food, good food versus bad food? Just like a very general statement here. In your point of view, like how would you actually describe to like a public population? Yeah.
Okay, if the public population is not someone who has any chronic diseases, who's probably like they are healthy, they just want to make better choices in life,
Mm.
then we wouldn't really have to be so strict on certain foods, right? Because like if you're talking about a kidney patient or a heart disease patient, then perhaps the ingredients or the nutrition facts would be super important, because sometimes if there's like excess potassium, is sodium is not going to help them. Yeah. So if talking about general population, healthy population, um I wouldn't say that uh every food is, I wouldn't like segregate between the two, like healthy and unhealthy. It's about how much they are eating. Let's say if when they go to a grocery store and in their cart they have a bag of chips, but then they
Mm,
have like 6 to 7 packs of vegetables and fruits. So I would say, oh, that's good. You know how to control the amount of food you're eating. You know your food choices. I wouldn't like say, yeah, why you have that one bag of chips? That's not good for you.
Yeah.
I would focus on the positive thing also. Like, hey, you know how to control your food intake, and you know how to reward yourself as well. Because sometimes, if you ask me, I also like that bag of chips more than fruits and vegetables. Sometimes,
Same.
sometimes.
We are human too, right?
Yeah, we are humans too. So, like nowadays, if my clients take pictures of food, go to the grocery stores and show me like the shopping aisle what they should get, I wouldn't like mind if we like me and my client talk about, oh, you know what are the foods that usually you would eat to reward yourself. Then we talk about it, and then they will just add it in the cart. It's fine. There's no unhealthy or healthy or unhealthy. It's just like someone may have heard that honey is healthy. In fact, I just did a post today about honey. So yeah, if someone say honey is healthy, but then they eat a lot of honey, it's gonna be unhealthy in a way, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's very difficult to say what is unhealthy and healthy. Perhaps maybe if you really want to have a very like put a definition to it, maybe it's in a form, maybe we can separate it into maybe fresh foods or like foods with additives or preservatives, something like that. So if you are someone who wants to, let's say if you have a choice of between a fresh apple and a canned apple, of course I would say go for the fresh apple. But if you're someone who don't have that choice and you only have the option of getting the canned food, then okay, canned food is it is. But canned food lower in sugar, lower in salt, something like that. So it really comes in I mean it's very context dependent, right? Like how is the person's environment, how much can they spend in terms of grocery shopping. Yeah, so that's my take on healthy, unhealthy food, or good or bad food. Yeah.
Okay. I have one more question, Shenyi, before
Mm.
you
Yeah,
get
yeah.
in. Is it true in your point of view that so-called like healthy food, it's more expensive? Like because people define healthy food organic, like all those kind of food, right? And they perceive it's expensive. So in your point of view, like involving yourself more in terms of this grocery stuff, right? Do you think that that kind of statement is true, or is there anything that you would like to just tell the public that, oh, it's actually not true?
um for me, it really depends. Okay, for example, if you have a housewife and someone who, okay, not saying the housewife is not going to be very busy, but let's compare a housewife and someone who is working 9 to 5 like that, or nine to six. Okay, they probably only have the option of, if they don't do meal prepping, they only have the option of eating out. And yes, eating out, a lot of like those healthy food restaurants tend to be of a higher price point. You compare Mamak and like, let's say like I can't think of like a restaurant that's healthy right now, but it's like, yeah,
Okay.
it's like 30 plus or 25 to 30 range. Compared to Mama, it's like less than 10 ringgit. And usually Mama, they open until very late as well. So for these people, that is a viable option. But if it's a housewife, if you or someone who knows how to meal prep during the weekends or weekday night, perhaps on a Wednesday night. Usually those times are when like some of my clients will meal prep. It's like weekends or weekday night on Wednesday, or always like that. If they know how to do it, you will notice, if you want peanut butter, you make your own peanut butter. It's so much cheaper. You just buy the peanut from, let's say, Bake with Yen. This is not sponsored by Bake with Yen.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like, let's say you get like peanut from Bake with
Yeah.
Yen, you roast it and then you just blend it. So
Mm.
that's peanut butter for you. Compared to a peanut butter that's selling in the grocery store and perhaps lesser amount or so for like 20 ringgit, 22 ringgit, 24 ringgit. Yeah, so it depends what you are trying to, I mean, how much of effort you're willing to put in also. And I would say not just effort but knowledge lah, like understanding that healthy eating is not just eating salads. You can
Broccoli.
also typically eat like the normal way that we cook at home also. Yeah, like maybe with the ingredients that we get from the market, all those things it can be cheaper. In fact, from Village Grocer, one pack of vegetable is like 350. But you go to a restaurant, to like Chinese restaurants, they cook the same amount of vegetables for like 20 ringgit.
True.
Yeah, but if you buy from Village Grocer, and many people will think like Village Grocer is expensive. But I do my grocery shopping there. Sometimes the vegetables is like, if I buy 4 packs, it's less than 20 ringgit. And I actually cook for my whole family, so it's so
Oh.
cheap. Yeah, I cook for the four of us.
Mm.
Yeah, so it's actually very cheap if you ask me.
Yeah, that's very relevant. But again, I agree with your point just now. It's a context dependent. You know, like
Mm.
housewife, right? They have more time to prepare. But if let's say someone who's like working very busy, you know, in a corporate settings and then coming back very late, of course, something that they can grab or like just grab and go. Definitely they will just buy at a restaurant. But yeah, Shenyi, if you have
Yeah.
anything that you want to continue.
I think it doesn't run away from the context as always, but just want to add on a little bit about good and bad food as well, because I mean, if let's say we are scrolling social media and then there will be some information that could probably be misleading. Usually, if let's say they purposely point out some fresh or food product as a bad food, it depends on context, because as what Cynthia was mentioning, for general healthy population, we do not have any disease. Again, this info or that we share is mainly for people with healthy, what we call that, with people who are healthy without any disease. All right. So they usually will mark it as a bad food, but in fact, when it comes to the nutrition content, or whether really inside the food itself is there any toxin or something that could cause harm to your body, right? If let's say some food content with that is called bad food. Elsewise, some spoiled, expired, rotten food. I mean, for sure, that will be the bad food in its own definition. But technically, why the food is being manufactured, or the food is being sold, or the food is being put in the groceries for us to choose, it is just food. If let's say we take a step back, and like what I always share with my client as well, there's no good or bad food. It's all over here, your mouth. You control how much you want to take, and one very important thing is the knowledge, whether you're aware, whether you do not know, or like what is the things that you should know. Yeah, which is why I think Cynthia can be a very good share speaker, or dietitian to share with us, like when it comes to grocery shopping, right? Even though me myself, I'm not as frequent and I don't cook for my whole family, but just what is the things that you usually do before you go for grocery? Is there any steps or anything?
Okay, so because I cook the meals, like mainly dinner for my family,
Mm,
I roughly already have like a list of foods that I would cook in my head.
mm,
So I'll think about like what are the extra stuff that I have in my fridge. Maybe I have excess tomatoes, and then I trying to grab like maybe eggs. Then I'll make like egg tomato or something like that in my one of my to be one of my dish. And then I will have a rough plan already before I go to the grocery store. And one of the tip that I would usually give to my clients, if they are going to buy stuff at the grocery store, I would say don't go when you're hungry.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah.
mm.
Yeah, don't go when you're hungry, because you're gonna end up putting in like a lot of snacks inside instead of like the fresh foods. And do you guys notice that a lot of like grocery stores now, in everywhere, they have like fresh foods on the outside, and then the middle is where they put all the packaged foods, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
So it's actually a psychology thing, but I don't think a lot of Malaysians know this. So what they want people to do is to walk on from the outside and then slowly walk to the inside. But now everyone just walks straight to the middle and forget about the fresh area.
Mm.
If
Mm.
you notice that,
Oh.
Yeah.
yes. So what I'm trying to say is, um, grocery shopping also has its method,
Mm.
and once you learn how to do it, you can it's really a thing that is going to help you forever. Like
Mm.
the trick tips and tricks is going to help you forever, and you're not going to be afraid standing in front of the aisle looking at, wow, so many food products, what am I going to choose? Yep. So, and also another thing is that I've seen like different influencers pinpointing on, oh, this is not good for you. This is the pharma company is like scaring you and things like that. But but all of us need to understand that once we know what's happening, like make informed choices, we don't need to be so scared. Just educate yourself. For me,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
Once you get the hang of it, you can basically um, be worry free while shopping. Like just now I
Mm.
mentioned, right? Once you learn how to do it the first time, you'll be buying the same products again and again for the rest of your life. Yeah.
Yep. I think just to make the whole conversation and discussion clearer as well, we are moving into a practical way of like doing grocery shopping. So what Cynthia was trying to say just now, before we go for grocery shopping, we should at least have in mind like what we want to buy, what we want to cook. Yeah, like for her example, she knows like she's gonna cook for dinner, right? And she knows some sort of like some food meals that she is going to cook. And then the second one is actually don't go grocery shopping when you are hungry. Yeah. Is there anything else, Cynthia, that you wanna like add on when it comes to grocery shopping before grocery shopping that you think is
Before,
important? Yeah.
I used to use a grocery shopping list
Mm.
because I meal plan first, like I'm gonna cook maybe for this week. And then I know like sometimes I have family dinners on certain days of the week, so I won't have to cook. So what helped me was I learned how to plan my grocery shopping with a list. Then slowly you will realize you don't need that list anymore. You can roughly understand how much your family eats, also plan their portions also. So at the start, it's good to have a list to meal plan, and don't go when you're hungry.
Mm.
Okay, and then read the before grocery shopping. Okay, this is before, but during,
Is
we're
another.
gonna talk about that later on. So these are just some tips and tricks for before grocery shopping. Yeah.
I think I have something to add on. This is my personal experience that I think it worth to share because me personally, if let's say before I go to the grocery, if I go with after the payday, for example, right, I will tend to buy a lot more things because I think that it's payday. You get what I mean? Yeah, which is very crucial as well. After that, I learned on okay, this time round the grocery should be the budget will be around this amount and I'm going to make sure I just buy within this amount. Yeah, because overspending, especially we are in the like supermarket, so many food, so many choices. Yeah, it affects me as well. Yeah,
Yes, totally understand. Also, another thing is the planning is super important of because of one more reason, food wastage.
Oh yeah.
true.
Yes. Because last time when I still didn't know like how to properly plan my family's intake, like their meals, sometimes I'll be throwing out like rotten vegetables in my fridge because I bought too much, something like that. Like let's say I want to make like a dish with tomato. I was only gonna use like perhaps three tomatoes in the dish, but I end up buying like six. So I don't really need it. And I tried to incorporate as many as I can in my cooking, but it's already the end of the week also. So there won't be a lot of cooking at that point of time because during the weekends I tend to eat out quite often with my family members.
Mm.
So learning to plan is important, and once you get the hang of it, it's going to be very easy.
All
Just
right.
curious as well. Just now, Cynthia mentioning about like the first time when you want to learn the how to do grocery shopping for the first time. Do you ever I don't know like record when is the longest time that you spend in the grocery? If let's say you are aware.
Wow, I can't remember this. How long? Maybe the okay. I just remember the first few times.
Mm,
The first time I remember I didn't buy enough, so that's why the second time and the third time I buy more than enough. Then
okay.
after that, I slowly got the hang of it.
Yeah.
But I would say most of the time I just grab and go because I usually stick at the fresh aisles more, not at the packaged food area. So I don't think it's um that scary. I only started to venture into the packaged food area in later on when I'm trying to find snacks to eat. Yeah.
See. Yeah,
Mm.
because there's so many option, and then if let's say you were to compare, which I think from every section, like it is going to take a lot of time. But yeah, once you, as you said, we get the familiarity, we know what to get already and how much, how many we want to buy, and etc. Yeah. So how about
Yes.
when it comes to when we are doing the grocery, and yeah, we understand that we have a lot of section. Yeah, we have a lot of aisle.
Oh, oh
How do
yeah.
you usually do? Yeah.
How do I usually do? Okay, since I started creating the content, I spend quite a fair amount of time in the grocery
Right,
store
right.
because I was trying to take pictures of the aisles and then go back home and then look at what I like the pictures that I took
Yeah.
and then find their information online.
Yes.
So that kind of thing. Or let's say if I can't find the information online, I have to go back to the grocery store, go to the food product, and then look behind and then check.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's only when I started creating the content I spent like maybe a collective 1.5 hours, or not 2 hours that long yet.
Mm.
But during grocery shopping, reading the nutrition facts, and also it depends on what food you are looking for. So um like let's say if you're looking out for like, I can only think of peanut butter right now because I want to do peanut butter video later on. But like peanut butter, yeah, peanut butter, you look to the bag, is it really peanut butter or is it not peanut butter, like peanut butter as a main ingredient? So when I was doing the peanut butter research, right, I found so many, like wow, I'm so amazed by their way of displaying the information and the marketing, like how they actually market that peanut butter to make people think that, oh, that's the best option out there. So there's this word, they write 100% American peanuts.
Mm.
So people will think like it's 100% peanuts, but it's actually
Okay.
100% American. So the peanuts are American, not
Uh-huh.
that it's 100% peanuts.
Wow, wow, wow. It's
You
like
understand, right?
manipulating, isn't it?
Yeah. So I was like, wow, I was so amazed. So you will notice all these things, and then you realize like, oh, I'm learning something as I go.
Mm.
Yeah. And even back then, you guys know, right, when we were dietitians, we don't really look into this that much.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we don't really dive deep into this. We keep learning about like the medical side of things, medications, all those stuff. But when it comes to practicality, talking to our clients,
True.
we only come back to like uh like how what foods are they consuming, and looking deeper into the like grocery shopping,
Mm. Mm.
only then when we start to look at it like that. So that's one of the examples that I'm trying to tell you, like nutrition facts, ingredients list. um I would say nutrition facts wise is about looking at the sodium, the sugars in general, trans fats for the general population. But when it comes to people with diseases already, it's more strict already in terms of that. But trans fats nowadays have to be of a certain level, so not to be too high as well. But nowadays, a lot of in factories, they reduce it a lot because
Yeah.
it's under regulation that we
From
have to
FDA.
restrict.
Correct.
Yes, so that's good for us. But I also still found some brands that, I'm not going to disclose the brand, but I still found some brands that have higher trans fats, especially in the um, margarine area.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
so I can only educate it as a general thing, but not to disclose the brands lah. So this is something that I would want people to do nowadays, is to read labels and nutrition facts. Don't believe a lot of things that are said online. Once you understand the food already, once you understand why those ingredients are added into the food, because sometimes these additives gives the food structure or the texture and consistency. They
Mm.
need to do it. They need to put it in. If not, it's not going to stay that long in the grocery store for you to come and buy. Yeah. So it's not something that is probably life threatening. But if you are someone who prefers fresher foods, it might not be the ideal choice for you. I will always say this. If you are someone who prefers fresher foods, then it might not be the ideal choice for you. I just say this sentence because it's I'm not gonna lie and tell you like, oh, it's bad if you have like these additives in your food.
Mm.
But all these are safe graded already, like graded
Mm.
safe for
Exactly.
consumption.
Mm.
Yeah.
And it has to be added because of the reasons. And I'll tell you the reasons. You just make your choices properly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's very relevant with what you are trying to say, because at the end of the day, our discussion today is not trying to scare people off about food that was sold in that are, you know, like being sold in the market itself, but it's about informed decision, you know, like being more aware. I think that's also the right you know, like information that we want to just let people aware today. But yeah, I think that's a very nice information that you've been sharing just now. But at the same time, right, Cynthia, this is a little bit of out of topic. You know, I just wanted to give a little bit of like perspective and horizon towards our discussion. Why in your place right now, right, as a dietitian, why do you think it's so important for you to like doing what you are doing right now? You know, like nobody is asking you to do, right, this grocery comparison, but because I feel like we need to give a spotlight to you of spending like 1 to 1 hour and a half grocery, you know, like doing grocery just to like take photo and just to analyze the food to educate the public, and why you have so much passion in doing this. You know, like I'm just trying to let the
Yeah,
people know
understand.
how hard the effort people are trying to do content, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, I guess like you guys also face this, right? When you're doing content, you have to sit in front of the computer. My yogurt one, my yogurt content, I spent 5 hours on it.
No way.
Really, I spent 5 hours on it because I have to make sure the content I put out there is correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to like teach the wrong things,
Mm,
and cause fear again among the
yeah.
public. And I also don't want, I mean, I have that passion of not just being a dietitian that says yes and no to certain foods. Some people will say, like, oh, Greek yogurt is better than yogurt. Then they
Mm,
just say this statement. But there's
mm,
no why.
mm,
There's no why. How is it made? And letting you know why certain ingredients are added inside, there may be a reason. So, for instance, like why is milk solids added inside? It because it's cheaper than incorporating full 100% milk inside, something like that. So it's like informed choices is something that I want to bring out and let them know that, okay, these are the things, here's your choice, what you're going to do after that, after knowing about all this information and knowledge. So I guess it also comes from me looking through TikTok, Instagram about people walking around the aisles and creating fear. So I was passionate because of that. And because there were a lot of people who keep sending me these kind of videos and asking me to, hey, this is this true? Is this true?
Mm.
Um, so I just want to create and address it once and for all. I would say I would say
Mm.
that was my main motivation. um, and because I do a lot of grocery shopping on my own, so I can also understand how confusing it can be. Because one
mm,
day I just walk in the grocery store, a new thing comes out. Like I
Yeah.
would say, every time when I walk into a grocery store, like weekly, when I go in, definitely there's something new there.
mm,
Just like the ayam brand, that brand I did, I was like, wow, Xinthia got so many types in on the shelf compared to maybe like let's say 2 to 3 years ago.
mm.
So
All right.
I can understand how confusing it is. And when you look at oils, wow, so many oils nowadays, like vegetable oils on the aisle, so on the shelves, I mean. So it's so scary if you're someone who don't know about nutrition. And I don't blame them for that. In fact, I don't blame them if they um, decide to listen to like maybe sources that are not uh,
Reliable.
reliable. Yep, you're right. Because they just want, like the quick
Mm,
answers and to be healthy.
yeah,
Yeah. And they're desperate for it.
exactly.
Mm.
Cool. Yeah, Shen Yi, you want to add anything, or you want to ask should we move into the next question?
I think what Cynthia was sharing just now, we can resonate a lot, and that is why. I mean, that is why I see a lot more dietitian, certified dietitian and nutritionists. They're starting to create a lot more content, spending their time to do whatever that you see, right? So yeah, just I think just a shout out for everyone as well. So if let's say you're listening right now, three of us or everybody here, we are certified dietitian, and yeah, just feel free to chat with us and talk to us if let's say you have any things that you are not sure about it. Yeah, right. That's pretty much. Yeah, so let's move on to the next session, as in like after grocery, because we talk about before, during, and how about after. Is there any tips that, for example, you are sharing it with me, or I'm just a normal 9 to 5 person, what should I do with all these things? Like, is there any things that I need to take note?
After grocery shopping, when I was thinking about points for this, right, I was like, just cook and eat lah. But like after, what should I do?
Most,
I
Yes.
would say at that point of time, you perhaps when you're just trying out, then you will realize a lot of things, like maybe are you buying too much, or um, is this something that you would like to eat, and you're gonna repeat the same thing, or you're gonna change it to another brand and then relearn again, like maybe is this brand good for me or not. So what are your thoughts from you guys, if, if this point were to be mentioned? Yeah, like this
like
question would be to ask. Yeah,
after grocery, right? You mean?
yeah.
I think I would agree to do some reflection.
Yeah.
But I guess it takes you a certain level of understanding towards what you want and what you eat. Only you can reach to the point where, yeah, why did I
Yes,
do too much? You
exactly.
get what I mean, right? But
Yeah,
if let's say
yeah.
a normal people like suddenly,
Just cook and eat lah.
yeah, just eat lor. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's my thought process also lah.
Mm,
Mm.
yeah.
And cooking, maybe if I were to give like points, I would say healthier cooking methods.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Healthier cooking methods. Understanding what kind of fats you have chosen also.
Mm,
Maybe saturated fats lower.
yeah.
Trans fats. Sometimes in certain food items is not. If you look at it the science way lah, okay, certain food items will have trans fats no matter what. It's
Mm-hmm.
natural. So, but being able to um, eat lesser saturated fats and more unsaturated fats, that is the key as well. So
Mm, mm.
it's so I would say the reflection part. It's only when you reach, like, let's say, like level lah, you level up lah, okay, level maybe 1 to 100 lah. When level 80, from probably you're reflecting lah. But when you're level 1 to level 60, probably you're just like cook and eat lah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, I think there are a couple of times you've been mentioning about trans fat, right? But maybe in your own term, right? Do you want to just explain a little bit like what is trans fat? Like the process, or so that people will just be more aware why this dietitian keep on talking about cannot eat trans fat, because I really love to eat cookies, for example, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, trans fat is actually found in certain dairy products also. Okay, and also some bakery products as well.
Mm,
So these types of fats would cause certain adverse effects on our health, and it's basically when our like okay, let's say, let me give an example. Certain margarines,
mm,
okay, but nowadays they already remove that process already. They make the process better already. But the hydrogenation process, they want to make the vegetable oils become more stable in room temperature, because when we look at vegetable oils, it's liquid, so they want to make it solid.
Yeah.
So when they want to make it solid, that process will not be 100% perfect. They will leave certain fats that now we call it trans fats, because
mm,
they are not fully hydrogenated. They are not fully converted into solids. So those fats are what we call trans fats, and those fats are what are uh, the main reasons of like cardiovascular diseases, like heart diseases. Yeah, and mainly, um, we are trying to reduce these kinds of fats, but sometimes it is um, inevitable in some food products. So we have to do our part to increase more unsaturated fats
Mm.
in our diet. So unsaturated fats are like fats like maybe omega 3, omega 6, and omega 9.
Mm.
Mainly
Yes.
on plant-based.
Yeah, plant based. Learn how to sometimes take more plant based proteins as
Mm.
opposed to uh, meat based proteins.
Yeah.
So what I do is I always change my family's like diet also. Like one day maybe plant based protein, then another day maybe like chicken or other meats.
Mm.
So that will be a great uh, tip for anyone who cooks at home. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect.
and that's
Yep.
the,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, she.
And that is the variety that Cynthia was trying to say. And to give some audience the audience some context, if let's say you are wondering, usually trans fat is exist, like where can we find trans fat in general, right? Some of the bakery stuff,
Mm,
frozen food, right, frozen processed food, or even some of the margarine that Cynthia was saying, usually they will contain trans fat. But how can you make sure? Is by reading the nutrition label. Usually they will actually write on it, and then yep, they have to, this is the regulation. And when they write on it, just just a simple act before you buy something, just have a quick look over there. Yeah, and it is always the lesser the better,
Mm.
specifically on trans fat. Yep, because even the what we call that, the FDA, they already set the regulation to reduce it, I think since almost, I think around 5 to 6 years ago. Yeah. So that is the part that to give some context to the audience. And just now, one of the things that I think worth sharing as well, especially for after grocery shopping, like after we already buy after we already buy the grocery, just cook and eat for sure, do some reflection for sure. And I think another thing that worth highlighting is make sure you store your food correctly.
Mm.
Yeah, that relates back with the food safety issue that
Safety.
we mentioned at the beginning. Just if let's say some of the food it should be frozen, just make sure you keep in the uh frozen area and whatnot, because this is what I see before, like in my grandparents house. When they buy some like tofu, right, usually the tofu they will put the those when I was like a kid, they will put in a plastic bag with some water, and they will just hang it there. They didn't like change it into a clean container and put in the chiller for longer, just to extend the freshness and things like that. But they just put it there, and then when we want to cook, right, they just fry it and we just eat. I mean, technically we do not know what have we eat like when we were young. So one thing's very important to take note and to remember is that, yeah, some of the food, just make sure if you want to preserve it, just keep it properly. Make sure it is under the right storage condition. Yeah.
Also the cross contamination and stuff, right, in the fridge.
Yeah. My oh, this is again about my grandparents. When they buy something, right, in a plastic bag, they will just put inside, like that directly. They buy from the wet
Yeah.
market. They will buy for the wet market and just directly put inside, which is not is not hygienic at all. Which that is not that could cause the contamination. Yeah.
Got it. All right. Yeah. Yeah. So we are almost there. Towards the end of our session. We will have a quick fire questions later. That's just to add a little bit of spices towards our session. But before we go into that, lah, I
Mm,
think one thing that I just also wanted to unfold better in terms of our discussion today is that I feel like grocery shopping is kind of like a privilege for certain people because they have time and they can make some time to really analyze or like like evaluate what they are buying, for example. But maybe in general, what's your advice, Cynthia, towards like corporate or like people who's working 9 to 5 where they don't have much of time to really think about it? How would they actually make a good choice when it comes to grocery shopping itself, yeah, in terms of like canned food, frozen food, fresh food, because again, right, they are busy, and for them canned food or like frozen food maybe is the easiest for them to take, right? So maybe you just want to just share about how frequent they can actually take all those kind of food, like how much the amount that is recommended, and is one better than another? Like, is it canned food is bad than maybe like frozen food? Yeah.
Before Xinthia share, right, I think this is one of the things that I heard most of the time as well. People say frozen, like we talk about frozen food just now. Frozen food lah, canned food lah, is not good. Everything needs to be fresh. So what is your opinion on it, Xinthia?
Okay. I would say there isn't really a frequency like a frequency of how many times someone can eat canned food or frozen food. In fact, it is found that frozen food have like because it is usually frozen when it's at its peak freshness. So sometimes certain nutrients are actually higher than fresh foods. So I guess when it comes to learning how to grocery shop, right? Uh, we also can look at like what types of frozen foods are out there in the grocery stores, because I know that a lot of like certain vegetables are not available in frozen form. Usually it's only spinach or broccoli or like mixed vegetables like your corn, your carrot, peas.
Mm.
So for those kind of foods, maybe if you really are a person that wants, more nutrients, for example, then you can get foods like that, because sometimes these foods are also cheaper in frozen form, especially broccoli compared to fresh broccoli, because nowadays fresh broccoli is so expensive.
It is.
Yeah, yeah. So that can be an option. And then for canned foods, right, it depends also. Is it the sweetened ones or the salted ones? If it's a sweetened one, the salted one, then probably I wouldn't recommend. Unless for the salted ones, you really rinse through it. But that's not the point of people buying the salted ones. Usually they want to cook with the brine. So I remember I used to give like health talks about how to reduce your sodium content. Then I tell them like, like you have to rinse through the brine. Then some of them in the audience were like, huh? Then what's the point of me buying it? I want the salt. So I feel like if you really want to reduce your sodium intake, you have to do it no matter what. Yeah. Um and another thing is fresh foods. I would say it is more widely available as opposed to canned and also
Frozen.
frozen. If you realize canned is only like maybe beans, beans
Fruits.
and then fruits, mushrooms, yeah, and I think that like fish, maybe
Sardines.
fish, yeah, sardines, all this. If you're someone who's very busy, no time to go and cut the fish yourself or things like that, then get the canned one. For the people who are 9 to 5 lah, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Or you just want to cook sardines from the can normally also can, but then again it comes back to eating 2 to 3 servings of fish only in a week, because there is something we call like mercury, and you're scared of mercury, the mercury poisoning also. So that's when we learn how to reduce fish consumption also, and also learning how to control our portions for fish at that point of time lah. But nowadays, if you look at Malaysian diet, not a lot of people actually eat fish also.
True.
Yeah. So that's like level, maybe just now I say level 1 to level 100 lah. Then that's like level 40 already. That's like incorporating fish. So whenever we talk to like people around us, we have to still teach them about the portion at the start. Then only they will slowly learn how to put all these things into play along the way. Yeah.
You're right.
So if you're asking me like which one is better than the other, I would say they are all equally the same, but you still have to look at the um, product itself. Is it salted? Is it sweetened? Is it with gravy? Is it not with gravy? And what kind of food is it? Because like I said, sometimes these canned or frozen foods do not have I mean fresh foods, some of the fresh foods are not available in canned and frozen form. Yeah.
Mm.
So look at that and you will see also.
And I do think that, right, if let's say for frozen food and canned food, if let's say someone, let's say someone who is very busy and don't really have time to do grocery shopping, you just want to keep something for longer, for the longer expiry, you can actually go for frozen or fresh, because frozen or canned food, because it's definitely allows you to keep longer. And yeah, I'm imagining if let's say I'm going to cook the sardine without the gravy. Oh, it is going to be like, what is the, why do I buy the can products? But again, a lot more products like mushroom, beans, fruits, and all this, the gravy is meant to be washed out, and then you need to rinse properly
Yeah.
first. Yeah, because it does contain certain preservative to actually keep the freshness and the fruits or the food product longer. Yeah.
Mm.
Cool.
Mm,
So I would say there's no superiority in any one of it. Sometimes if I know that a person, let's say, can only cook 2 days a week,
mm,
Mm.
but then they want 2 days a week, but then they want like sometimes to grab something to cook fast. So I would say maybe that 2 days a week you buy food items like fresh food items for that 2 days a week, but one maybe out of sudden it becomes like extra 1 day they have to cook. Then the extra 1 day they can have the canned or the frozen food item to create a meal.
Yeah.
mm,
Yeah. So it's very individualized, I would say.
exactly.
Mm.
Exactly. All right. Yep. Shen Yi, before maybe you go into the summary, right?
Mhm.
Basically that's pretty much that we wanted to ask Cynthia
Sorry,
today.
another one point. I forgot to say
Please.
also. Just now you mentioned like 9 to 5, they won't have time to grocery shop, right? And then
Yeah.
nowadays, you can actually buy online, right?
Yeah. The
Yeah, you can buy
small little note.
online.
Yes. Yes.
And then
Yes.
the card that you have, you can press repeat the card also. So that person can just um, press it and then send it over to them. Like the card can be the same food items and then they just cook it like maybe the same every week. Yeah. I mean, if they are not bored of the food they are eating, right? Because I know people who are like that,
Yeah, yeah.
they are okay with eating the same foods.
Mm.
So like I said, once they get the hang of it, right, they know what they want to buy, they know what kind of food they want to eat really. They just repeatedly do it.
That's true.
Mm.
Wow. Yeah. It's a very nice information we get from the expert.
Mm.
Yeah. It seems that the amount of time that you spend in grocery shopping, when we turn into this kind of discussion, it sounds really really wise for the public as well to practice. We can also target not only people who have like who is a housewife who has more time to actually do grocery,
Mm.
but also practically there are also new ways as well as what you mentioned just now. People can just buy online nowadays, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, before we go into the summary, Shen Yi, later on, maybe we can just have a quick it's a rapid fire question, Cynthia. There's no right or wrong. We just wanted to make it controversial a little bit, like we wanted to know your choice. You don't need to think too much about it. It's just like it's a one versus another. So if let's say it's this one, then you just say that one. Okay? All right. So yeah,
Sounds
plant
scary.
based.
Okay.
Oh, so scary, right? Yeah.
Just for fun.
Okay. So plant-based milk versus dairy milk.
What am I sure is yes or no, is it? Or like
No,
how?
which one? Which
Like
one?
plant-based milk or dairy milk. I like dairy more.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Greek yogurt versus natural yogurt.
Greek. I want more protein.
All right. Pasar pagi versus supermarket.
Pasar pagi. Eh,
Okay.
wait. No, supermarket, supermarket. You mean
Why you
like
don't like
grocery store, is it?
pasar pagi is like like you go
Wait.
to the wet market,
Ah,
in the
yeah, wet market. No, I like grocery stores, but like the supermarket. Cause I don't like the smell of the fish.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Okay. White bread versus whole meat bread. Wholemeal bread. Yeah.
Wholemeal.
Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah. So you don't need to explain. It's okay. Actually, all of these we took from your content.
Oh, really? I was like, why is this so familiar? Like, why ask me about Greek yogurt and natural yogurt?
Yeah. So that's a little bit of glimpse as well about that kind of content that Cynthia is doing. You can follow Cynthia on Instagram, Cynthia Dietitian, right? You how to do it?
Cynthia dot dietitian.
Xinthia.dietitian.
Xinthia.dietitian.
Yeah, we can also put it in the note later for you to follow Xinthia, so that you can see the type of content that she made. Maybe it can give you a little bit more knowledge about grocery shopping as well, the groceries list. And I believe it's not only that, there will be more upcoming contents that she'll be doing as well. Yep, Shen Yi, do you want to end the session with any summary or anything?
I think throughout the whole session we talked a lot, like from food safety, the food poisoning issue, up until when it comes to grocery shopping. What is the things that we need to prepare before? Basically, prepare a list. Just get ready. Make sure your state when you are going to grocery it should be right. Don't go when you are hungry. And during the grocery, as what we have discussed throughout the whole session, just just make sure you, maybe you might suffer for the first time, or not suffer, you spend more time during the first time, and then you'll get the gist of it. And after grocery, make sure you know like how to store and just cook. Just get ready with your food. Yeah, that's, I think that is very important for like a public to know, before, during, after, like as a person who do not have prior knowledge, what is the things that they need to know. But of course, if let's say you need more details, feel free to talk with the dietitian. You can talk to the dietitian from My Fine Diet as well. And yeah, we do talk about a little bit on the food, some of the very famous kind of question that people always ask lah. Frozen food lah, canned food, and or fresh food to be choose, right? So I think that's pretty much a summary of what we have discussed or we talked about today.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep. So any last words from Cynthia before we
close.
like close the curtain? Yeah.
Um, I would
Like,
say
like tips or whatever it is lah. Yeah, anything is your mind.
get informed about your foods. Yeah.
Mm.
Understand your foods before being scared over it. Yeah. That's all I have to say.
Perfect.
All right.
Perfect. All right. Yeah. So I think that's all for our episode today, episode 8. Yeah. Stay
Yep.
tuned. We'll be posting it, I think, in the next, yeah. So you will just wait on Instagram because we don't know the date.
Good luck.
People don't know the date, right? Yeah.
It's gonna be so long, the editing process.
Yeah, and if you like, for the audience, if either you are listening or you are watching, feel free, please like and share and comment if let's say you have any question, and we are more than happy to actually share the things that we know together with you. And I think that's all for our episode 8. I should
Yep.
see you all next time. Once again, thank you, Xinthia.
Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you so much.
Thank you for
Alright.
inviting me. Thank you for this
Have a
chat.
good weekend. Yeah.
You guys
Bye.
too.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.